because before this I tried and I couldn't go live. No, I see. Let me know if you can hear me or not. I'm on my sofa, if you don't mind. It's late, so I have to be lying down if I want to make a video with you. Hi. Oh, that's great. That's great that you can hear me. Hi. Oh, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that the sound is good. So, as you can see, I'm on my sofa with these beautiful pillows that from time to time I get so tired of and I want to change. But then I fall in love with it again. Actually, we bought this sofa because of these pillows. They're so beautiful. Bonjour, France. Bonjour. And then I was like, but I love purple, but I don't know if I want it in my decor. And from time to time, I want something like beige over here. And something, bonjour, it's late at night here, hello. Thank you for telling me I look great, I'm so tired. I was so tired that I thought maybe before starting a live watching, I should put some mascara on, but I was too tired to do that, so just lip balm, you guys. So I have this book here. Oh, by the way, can we appreciate how my blouse is the same color theme as my pillows? I mean, it really is. I can see it in the camera. I can see it in real life too. It has like purple flowers, little flowers. Purple and yellow and violet, and so are my pillows. So I'm going to sleep very soon, which I advise you to do too. I have so many great relaxing videos to sleep to, both on my channel and my YouTube club and Patreon. By the way, thank you everyone for supporting me on those platforms. Thank you so much. It means the world to me, and I am so thankful. I'm going to post more and more on both platforms. And recently I had this 19th century really extravagant dish that I made on my YouTube club and Patreon, and then today I posted a video from my bed telling you the story of how I stole my neighbor's cat. Stole to save. Okay, so before sleep, recently I started doing small reading. You know how they say read a book before sleep? But I have found that if I read like a novel or a really interesting book, then I can't sleep because it's so interesting. I want to keep reading and I just can't stop. And then it's 11, 12, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning sometimes, and I still can't sleep. My eyes are shutting, but I want to read the story and I wanted to continue. It's the same thing as watching a movie, right? Um, you want to see what's going to happen next. So, me and my mom, we watch Poirot together before sleep. We started it a couple of months ago. We're watching the whole series. Who has been watching it with me ever since I recommended it? It's amazing with David Suchet as Poirot. It's, every single episode is like a film. And but on nights when I'm too tired and I can't watch Poirot, today I cooked your beautiful beef stroganoff and it tastes great. I'm so happy. I shared this stroganoff recipe on my Patreon and YouTube club, and then I'm thinking like, oh my god, but this is such an extravagant dish. I liked it, my mom loved it, but my sister refused to taste it. She thought it was just it was like no, too much. And yes, I like adding lemon to liver or to like hearts, like chicken hearts, when my mom is cooking it. I really like adding lemon, and that was my individual touch to this stroganoff recipe. Um, and yeah, sometimes, by the way, I'm cooking before sleep. Like my favorite is to make like a chocolate pie to enjoy it in the morning. Recently, I made lasagna. So yeah. But when I don't have time to like do like cooking or like watch TV series, my Poirot is my favorite. I watched Maigret. I tried to watch Maigret, but I didn't like Maigret. It's too dark and yeah, it didn't leave such a positive aftertaste like in Poirot, because in Poirot people get killed in most episodes, and yet it's just not leaving you with a negative feeling. I think because justice always prevails in Poirot. And so I decided to try a small reading, like they say small talk, small reading. And I like reading like arts books. Before sleep, I started reading art book. Kissing to all of you. Yes, Andre, I also try to avoid violent movies. I don't even try to avoid, I avoid. Even if my mom starts watching it, I don't. She was recently watching a movie called 23 Bullets. It's based on a true story. I couldn't watch it, it was too bloody. I don't watch these movies anymore. The only violent movie that I have seen recently is The Substance, which I reviewed again on my Patreon and YouTube club. I loved that movie. So the small reading that I like to do is like art books. I have ordered a bunch of books that are going to arrive soon. These are art books, these are photography books with comments. So also I like reading poems before sleep and quotes. And a book that I've had for a really long time, that my arms and hands look so weird with this phone camera. They look so large. So I speak several languages, as you know. This book is in Russian. Russian is like a mother tongue to me, even though it's not my mother tongue. So this says, de verbo in verbum. De verbo in verbum in Latin. I think I made a video a while back, a morning video, Morning Whispers, where I was reading quotes from this. These are quotes from Latin. It says, Вечные истины на вечной латыни. Eternal truths on eternal Latin. Eternal truths on eternal Latin. Eternal truths for sure. This book is like a box of wisdom. But when it comes to Latin, of course, Latin is a dead language, unfortunately. So Latin is not eternal. There are still some things that are being held in Latin, like I think when it comes to church, they have readings in Latin in Rome, I believe. And of course, we can translate from Latin because it hasn't been dead for too long, but there is no country in the world where they speak Latin. Italian is very close to Latin, obviously, and then Spanish and Portuguese are close to Italian. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you for the donation. Thank you. You didn't have to do it, but I really appreciate it. So this book is a collection of quotes in Latin. And what I like to do is sometimes I'll just randomly open a page and start reading. I start reading, it's written in Latin. It's written in Latin, and then it gives you the pronunciation, the right pronunciation, and the translation into Russian. I'm sure that this book can be found in French and in English, in Spanish, Italian, in many languages. In my native tongue, Armenian. I just happened to, I think I didn't buy this. My sister bought this when she was in Moscow, so this one is in Russian. So this is the kind of small read that I like to do, small reading. And it's really wonderful. My late grandmother, I will soon read you some quotes from here. My late grandmother loved such books. She died at the age of 89, and she would have lived much longer. She just broke her hip, and then because the surgery went great, but the doctors, when you have such a surgery, they have to put special tights on the legs for the lymph, and they did, but then they took it off and they forgot to put it on again when they made her walk, and so she had like a little trump in her vein, and it got worse. They do those tights not to develop trumps, and that's why she passed away. But she lived up until 89 in her good sense, good health, and I think one of the reasons why my grandmother lived for so long is because she would always train her brain. She would always read my grandmother. She would do cross words. At some point she complained that one of her eyes couldn't see very well, so we had a surgery. Even though, can you imagine? Some people were telling us off from that surgery, telling us that, well, she's over 80. Why are you doing surgery? Like, what if someone is over 80? They have no right to live their life gracefully and enjoy it? That's crazy. And she lived many years. It was in her early 80s we did the surgery with beta vision. So that's crazy. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for the donations, love. You just have such a difficult nickname, it's impossible to pronounce it for me. By the way, if you, I don't know, if you subscribe to my YouTube club on Patreon, then you get so much content for that money. So, yes, she would always read. She would read quotes. She was very curious. She would watch documentaries about planets, about history, a lot. And she knew how to play chess and shashki. So her brain was sharp. And I think one of the reasons for that was she would read a lot. And this is the type of books that she would also love to read. And she remembered. So I highly recommend you start reading, but not like novels and long stuff like that, but smaller things so that they don't keep your attention for too long and your interest for too long and cause insomnia, okay? So now I will read you some quotes from here before we go to sleep. I don't know why I even started this live. I just wanted to chat with you. So I'm a little like feeling like a little insomniac today. So let's read. Docendo, docemur, docendo, docemur. That sounds so beautiful, right? Docendo, docendo, docemur, docemur. And this means teaching, we learn ourselves. Teaching, we learn. Teaching, we learn. Docendo, docemur. And that's really true. When we are teaching something to someone, teaching for real, not just doing our duty, just spending some time to throw some knowledge at someone, but actually we're teaching them. We're also learning. I have to say that again, today I'm remembering my grandmother a lot, but she was teacher of physics, and she would always learn something new, both from her students, and because her standards were so high, she would always learn something new from books and other sources. So, and she was never greedy to keep her knowledge to herself. She would always teach me, her students, just everyone. So it's really true that teaching something, we learn ourselves. Also, because there's this saying how the student sometimes can become even better than the master. And if the teacher, if the master is jealous, then he'll get rid of the student. But if he is appreciating the talent, then he will have something to learn from him. And this is very true again. So many famous designers, they worked together, right? Dior, Balenciaga, Yves Saint Laurent, and at some point Dior was the master of Yves Saint Laurent. He was his teacher, he was his leader, and if he noticed the talent of Saint Laurent but was jealous of him, he would just like throw him out and not want to teach him anything. But because he wasn't that kind of person, he got Yves Saint Laurent under his wing and even gave him a new name, Yves, because Yves Saint Laurent's name was Mathieu. And I am 100% sure that this was beneficial for both of them, because they both benefited each other, right? And became designers who we know up until today. It's so rare for a fashion house to continue its life even after the death of the designer, actually. Now let's read something else. There are so many good ones. I don't even know which one to read to you. Some of these make me sad. This page made me a little sad. I don't want to read this page. I want to read this one. Manifestum non eget probazione. Manifestum non eget probatione. And that means, can you guess what that means? Manifestum. Manifestum is the obvious. I'm like translating from Latin into Russian, from Russian into English. The obvious. Non eget, doesn't need. Probazione. Probazione, doesn't need any proof. What is obvious, it doesn't need any proof. And this is also very true. Especially if we look at sometimes like at things that people want to find proof for, but it's obvious, so why do you even want to find proof for it? That is true for even for me, for the existence of, I don't know, God, higher force. It's, for me, it's so obvious that it exists that I always think people are so primitive trying to find more proof for it, don't you think? I think for sure. I could even tell you some stories maybe one day about how, about just like magical things that have happened to me. Yes, I would love to tell you some magical, like really incredible stories that have happened to me, and if you have such stories that have happened to you, I would be happy to learn about them. Other times when an obvious doesn't need proof, also a lot of political situations, not that we're going to discuss them, but sometimes it's obvious, and yet these big politicians come together and it turns into some sort of a bureaucracy for some reason. There is this saying that reminded me of someone. It says, ignoramus et semper ignorabimus. Ignoramus et semper ignorabimus. We don't know, and we will never know. We don't know, and we will never know. And this, unfortunately, is also true. That is getting on my nerves, this thought sometimes that I don't know certain things, and I will never know them, even though I really wish to know. I wish I could, and we're not just talking about everyday life. No, I'm a very curious person. I want to know what innovations human will have in the future. I want to know if we will be able to invent time travel, because almost everything that we have thought of, we have invented, like the magic carpet, flying to different places. We have invented planes, the magic mirror on the wall, and seeing something, right? Mirror showing you exactly what is happening right now somewhere. We have invented FaceTime, Messenger, right? And I really wish I could know if time travel is possible. I would love to go back and see the dinosaurs. I would love to go back and see historical figures. I would love to go forward if possible and see if we could go to other planets. And when I was little, I thought we'd been to Mars because I had seen so many movies flying to Mars that I thought it was so real, and yet it is so unreal even now. You know how people believe that we're going to be on Mars so soon? That somewhere in the 80s or the 90s, I heard an astronaut saying this. The British radio put up a prize for guessing which planet are we going to land on, except Mars. And if whoever guessed it, they would win a big sum of money. Except Mars. So except Mars means that they thought Mars is just like tomorrow. We're landing on Mars tomorrow, and yet we haven't. I want to know about our galaxy, at least everything about our galaxy, how many galaxies there are, where does the eternity end, what is it, are there any other civilizations in the universe? We are so forward in terms of our knowledge. We are so smart already, and we know so many things. We have so many machines, and yet we know almost nothing. That's crazy, and I don't know, how much time it will take us to know more things. Will I live to see that, or I won't? And it makes me very curious and very sad. So really, what we don't know, we will never know, most likely. By the way, since we started talking about astronauts, I'm really very interested in astronomy. I've always been, ever since I was a child. We had, at my grandmother's place, they had in both of my grandmother's place, they had lots of books. But in this my grandparents' place, you think it's Venus? So I don't know. it has to be also a planet that is more or less good for life, you know, that is more or less friendly for life. And yeah, both of my grandparents' place, there were lots of books, and I remember there was this book with the planets, and I knew at the time their names by heart, at least the planets that were discovered at the time. Now there are more planets. I remember back then it was the furthest planets that we had known. When I was little, it was Pluto, Neptune, and Pluto. And now we, of course, know more than that. And I was so very interested always. And my favorite planet was, of course, apart from Earth, it was Jupiter, because I was too little, I couldn't read, and I didn't know that the circle, the ring around Jupiter, is not something hard, that is actually just dust and stones flying around. I really wanted to go and like land on that ring, and it was so beautiful in my head. I really wanted it. And yeah, since we started talking about this, I was watching this astronaut that I really like. He has his podcast. Unfortunately, I forgot his last name. I forgot it. I'm so bad at remembering names. I remember the information they give me, but not the names. And people were asking about astrology, because I think a lot of people mix astrology with astronomy. And he said that they really tried to find proof for astrology, but they were not able to. That everything that matched, that was true, that matched, that the astrologists were able to foresee, it was just as many times as it happens by chance. So there was no statistics, and the statistics shows that it's not working. And he also said, I think Shershin is his last name. He also said that those programs on the internet, you know, there are programs on the internet where you can type in your birth date, your birth year, day, month, even the hour, the time that you were born, the place where you were born, and it gives you like this whole big map of where each planet was at that very moment, each star, the moon, and the sun, and based on that, they're describing your personality, your assets, and etc. And he says those programs are really good. They're really good. He says they're very accurate because they were written by broke astronauts in the 90s. He said, like, my friends actually were writing those programs for astrologists because it was making a lot of money for them, and my friends also could benefit because they were broke, and they needed money, and they wrote this program. So the programs themselves are great. When I was little, I loved astrology. I loved it so much. I was so into it. The Chinese calendar, the zodiac signs. I was so into it. We even had a book that was not the zodiac and not just the Chinese calendar, but trees, like trees, what tree you are according to your date of birth, and I was so into it. But slowly I realized that yes, there are things that are very true, but in general, it's probably not so true in general. Yes, I don't believe in astrology, and even if like sometimes I'm interested in it and I will like read a horoscope just because it's fun. One thing I don't understand how people believe in are the tarot cards. My grandmother, by the way, she, even though she was a scientist, she really liked astrology. She really liked tarot. She really liked esoterics. She was watching this Extra Sense show on TV. I was like, Grandma, I can't. And there was this show which was very popular, Sixth Sense, on Armenian TV. And they would invite famous people that these, this witches, extra sense, different people sitting there. They had to prove their powers by understanding what famous person is there. And of course, most of the times they would. But one time, and I was like, this is impossible. This is impossible. And one time, they started describing someone. And I realized who they're all describing. And who they were describing was very similar to the guest that was in the secret room, the famous guy. But it was a completely different person. And I realized that the reason why they were so good at understanding what celebrity is in the secret room is because they would be given hints. They would be given hints by the team. And that time, the hint, they didn't get it right. And started describing someone also very famous, a comedian, a brunette, short, a bit stout, but a completely different person. And I realized that they're getting canceled. Besides, one of them actually got in the news because this extra sense, she got killed by a relative for funning sum of money. And I was like, oh my god, she was trying to foresee the future of others. If this thing is real, she would have foreseen her own future and not died this terrible, absolutely unnecessary, stupid death for just funny amount of money. Her relative killed her for just funny amount of money, really. And that's why I don't really believe it. I made 2 videos on zodiacs, astrology, tarot readings, and crystal readings, but it will be, I will do it, it will be my own personal feelings and my own personal readings of those crystals and of those tarot cards, and you will always have a wonderful, great outcome. And I will just infuse all that with my positive energy and transfer it to you. But yeah, I hope that you understand that this is not real. So I think as long as it's fun and entertaining, it's great. But when it's being done for money and people who are sick, whose relatives are sick, are suffering from untreatable disease, and they've lost all of their hope, and these extra sense, these witches, they start taking advantage of that and taking money from these people to maybe heal them or tell them some truth. That's crazy. That's really, that's criminal. By the way, I know my relatives aren't watching this, so I can gossip about my relatives. Okay, so these people are not, well, okay, so some of my relatives, they go to extra senses, okay? And my aunts told me that a family that they're very close to, and I know them because I studied with their son, they they're not rich, you guys. They're not rich. They're not wealthy people. Yet they gave $2,000 to an extra sense from this TV show that I was telling you about. $2,000 to tell them what's up with their life. And this extra sense said that there was a curse on them, a curse, and that she will take away this curse by telling them what to do, and they will do it, and they will become rich, wealthy, healthy, everything. Yeah, when I say an extra sense, it's a psychic. I'm sorry, yes, in Armenian it's extra sense. I forgot to translate the word. I need to tell the story again in another video, but okay. Yes, a psychic. $2,000 to a psychic. Oh. And the psychic took this money and then asked for more, another like 1,000 to tell them individually what to do. And they gave this money, even though they're not rich. They gave this money, and then a year went on, and they were angry because nothing happened. It didn't work. Lo and behold. It's just like how I just can't believe it. Like, how is it possible? I want to make a video, by the way, about this story of the ex-minister of Kazakhstan. You know that. Have you heard about that story? It was huge last year. He had killed his wife, the ex-minister of Kazakhstan, and he had beaten her to death, and would probably avoid being sentenced if it didn't get caught on camera. They of course deleted the footage, but then it was recovered. And when he beat his wife up and felt like she wasn't breathing anymore, she was all bruised, you know what he did? Whom he called? He didn't call the police. He didn't call the ambulance. He called his psychic, his extra sense. He's psychic. He called her and asked what will happen to his wife. Will she wake up? And she said, hold on a second. I will put the phone now down and put some tarot cards and see what they tell me. Sometime later, she called him back and said she will be okay. Don't worry, let her sleep. And he did let her sleep, and she died, even though of brain tumor, even though if they had called the ambulance, obviously her chances of survival would be, she should have called the police. She was already unconscious. If you see the footage of how he's beating her up, it was impossible for her to call the police. The other people, this happened in their private restaurant, but the staff members saw it and they didn't call the police. Can you imagine? The text came out because the court hearings were public, and they were texting like, oh, he's beating up his wife again, and the manager is saying, don't do anything, just go home. Can you imagine that? Anyways, yeah, so even like a minister, someone that you trust your country's well-being, with is calling a psychic instead of calling the ambulance. And he even tried to get her body out of the restaurant, and probably would just destroy it or hide it somewhere, and they would just never find her. But on that day, Vladimir Putin had an official visit to Kazakhstan, and his people had to dine in that restaurant where the killing had taken place. And so obviously the security, high security, came to check the place. And when they came to check, they obviously had a lot of security all over that place, and he couldn't take the body out and hide it. But why I brought this up is because, yeah, esoterics, psyches, tarot, zodiacs are fun as long as it's for fun. But when it gets so serious, when your wife is dying and you call a psychic to see if she will die or if she will just like wake up, that's crazy. And by the way, that psychic later said, to save her reputation, that she didn't consult him correctly, that it's not that the tarot cards were lying, she just didn't put any cards. Yeah. That would be funny if some psychics are watching me right now. They will totally unsubscribe. But it's true. What a crazy circumstance, right? That he could actually take his wife's body away, but because Vladimir Putin had an official visit to Kazakhstan, and his meeting was right next to that restaurant, and his people had to be dining in that restaurant, there was suddenly so many security people around that place, and he couldn't take a body out without being noticed. Yeah, it's the case of Sultanat, if anyone is interested in finding out about it. I was watching all the hearings, and they were long, but I was like, I just couldn't. I was here listening to it, even if I couldn't watch it, I was listening to it because it was terrible. Violence, domestic violence is a horrible, horrible thing. But it resulted in Kazakhstan, which is a very, patriarchy society, have a law of Sultanat, which is a law against domestic violence. So something good came out of something terrible. But yeah, oh my god, I'm drifting away from one thing to another. Let's move on to something more positive. I was going somewhere today, going out, and the taxi driver complimented me on my perfume. And it was this. I didn't expect this live to be about what I talked about. I was going to read you and say, guys, now we're going to sleep. Why? What a chatterbox I am. Which ASMR artist does this? No one. I'm terrible. Thank you for even bearing with me. Okay, so I was in a taxi and I got complimented. This scent gets me so many compliments. And it's discontinued. I can only get it on eBay if this bottle, if I run out of it. All ASMR artists talk a lot. No, they just like they whisper. I've watched. They don't talk about like negative subjects like that. I'm just like I'm drifting from one conversation into another. Sometimes I cut my videos and make them shorter because I'm like, You talk about unrelated things. You just like slip from one theme into another, from one subject into another. So this is Victoria's Secret. It's called Scandalous. Let me spray some on you. I love it. It's so beautiful. Victoria's Secret Scandalous. It has notes of raspberry liqueur and vanilla, and to my nose also chocolate. I don't like sweet perfumes because they give me nausea, but I like this one. By the way, how long have I been live? Where does it say? 51 minutes, okay, not too long. I love it. What's your favorite perfume? I always ask you to write me your favorite perfumes, but only a few of you write to me about your favorite perfumes. Do you not use perfumes, guys? I was watching an anthropologist. I love science. And I'm thinking even maybe I should open a separate channel about like documentaries, scientific content, just telling you stories like that. And he said, I don't understand that people use perfume. How? Especially men. For me, it's crazy. I don't know why. I like when men wear perfume. I don't like when they wear very strong perfumes. I think strong perfumes are for women, stronger scents, but not too strong still. I really don't like when men wear very heavy scents. I feel like I'm being blocked. I don't like it. But the scent was very nice. The taxi driver was like, oh, you smell so good. And then he goes like, sometimes people get into my taxi, into the car, and they smell so bad. And even though it's so cold now, I have to open the windows to air the car. He said, you smell so good that I was like the last client that he was going to have that day. He said, I'm going to pick up my friend and I will tell my friend to shut the door, get in and shut the door quickly so that your scent doesn't evaporate, doesn't go away and stays in the car long enough. And he even asked the name to buy it for his daughter. Yeah, lovely scent. I don't like sweet perfumes, but I like this one. My latest is Bergamotto di Calabria by Acqua di Parma. Acqua di Parma, it's such a beautiful brand. I have nothing from them. I will see if I can try it in the shop because I don't want to blind buy anymore. I have had some bad blind buys, even though Bergamotto di Calabria, I can tell I'm going to like it. Because if it's just a fresh citrus scent, I'm going to like it. My friend said that she has bought me a perfume, but she refuses to tell me what it is. She says that she has bought me a perfume because I complained that my citrus perfumes are gone. My Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue is gone. My Chanel So Fresh, which is also green citrusy, there are a few drops left. And I complained and I said, I have no citrus perfume, I need a new citrus perfume. And she recently said she got me a citrus perfume. I wonder what it is. I said, what if I don't like it? And she said, if you don't like it, I'll keep it to myself. I've come to appreciate the scents from Victoria's Secret because they're not heavy. Let's put it somewhere here so we can all appreciate it. What other things can I tell you to make myself sleepy? I was expecting to become sleepy, but I'm not feeling sleepy yet. I should get sleepy. How? That is the question. How? I remember I read this book by Marilyn Monroe, her notes. We should do a video on that, at least on Patreon and YouTube Club. I forgot I had that book. It's her notes, some of her poems, some of her diary. And there she says, how does this girl fall asleep? Meaning her. Because she suffered from insomnia. I don't suffer from insomnia. It's just that there are nights sometimes that I have insomnia. But in general, I don't suffer from insomnia. I thankfully sleep well. However, I have given all of my bedroom furniture to our relatives because it's impossible to sleep in my bedroom. Our neighbors, they're good, but the wall is too thin and it's loud there. And I'm turning another room into my bedroom now. I'm like in the process, but since we're in the process of that, I haven't bought a bed yet, so we're sleeping on sofas, and I don't like sleeping on sofas. There's only one sofa that I don't mind sleeping on, and that sofa is in my sister's place. It's an old sofa. I slept on it. It's very, very good. I should start probably reading some comments. I can't see your comments because I am just lying there and I can't really see it very well. I mean, I can read it, but it disappears. These neighbors aren't bad. They aren't loud tonight. They aren't loud. They're quiet at night. And luckily our neighbors below us are now very quiet also. We had terrible neighbors below us. Now it's fine. A couple of times they turned the music up really loud. It was during the day though. But I knocked on their door once, they opened. The other two times they didn't open. But also then after a while they stopped doing it, so I can't complain. About our neighbors next door, I can't complain also. They're not like loud. It's just that they're talking, but the wall is so thin. I don't know, maybe my hearing is too good. It's also possible that I can hear, and they don't. And Armenians in general don't go to sleep early. It's also a culture thing. But I like to go to sleep early. I personally like to go to sleep early, but Armenians in general don't. So that is also a problem. It's very common here to go to sleep at 1 in the morning too. So it's not a good thing. But it is what it is. So today they're very quiet. So living in an apartment, you have this issue always because people move in and out. A lot of people rent, and so you never know what people will come, right? So for instance, I really want to buy like a place for myself somewhere also outside Armenia so that I can have like holidays abroad. in my own place, not just in a hotel, because when we're in a hotel I can't take my dogs with me. But I know I will not be buying an apartment probably because it's so risky. You never know your neighbors will be. Right now, I am not complaining. Our neighbors are amazing. Even the ones who are speaking late night, they don't always do it. And I still don't need such a large bedroom. My bedroom room is very large. I don't need such a large place to sleep. I only sleep there. So I would rather have a cozier, smaller place. Also, I want to move to a room that has windows. On one hand, it's bad because light, but on the other hand, it's good because in summers I open the windows. I don't have to turn the air conditioning on. I can just open the windows and breathe fresh air that's coming from the mountains. It's overlooking the mountains. Alrighty, I guess this is it. I really missed chatting with you, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, even though it wasn't very it was just like chatting. It wasn't very triggers, I guess. It was just unintentional, chill ASMR. I love you all. Let me know what live do you enjoy better when I'm cooking for you, because I've done some live cookings. I don't always keep my live cookings. Thank you. Or do you prefer just a chit chat? Cooking or chilling? Cooking, chilling, chilling, cooking, cooking, chilling, chilling, cooking. Let me know, okay? Now, I guess I'll go take a shower and go to sleep. I have recorded something special for you, a night routine, a beautiful night routine. I love that video so much. I hope you like it, you guys, and watch it. And I will upload it when I do the editing, because for the editing I have to edit first and then do voiceover. Both. Thank you. Thank you also for the donations. Unfortunately your nickname is just I wasn't able to read it, but love you all. Subscribe to my Patreon and YouTube club. I make a lot of awesome content there. Recently I also made lasagna and filmed it. Actually originally filmed it thinking I will put it on my main channel, but I don't know if I should put cooking on my main channel. I recently only put cooking on my Patreon and YouTube club. I think Patreon and YouTube. Oh, Andre, no. Thank you so much for thank you. When I say thank you for donations, I don't mean donate, you guys. That's why I'm saying, like, instead of donations, you can get on my Patreon and YouTube club also some videos in return. But when you're donating, I don't know, what am I giving you in return, you know? Like, thank you a lot. Thank you. I just want to also give something in return, give you back. That's why if anyone is willing to give back, you can support me on Patreon, YouTube Club, and Andre you've been supporting me for so long and always writing me encouraging words and beautiful comments. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I am so lucky to have you, really. I should go and release Molly because she's in a room with my mom, because my mom has moved. uh, in with me, and we'll probably will be living together for the next few months. Not probably, we will. And I was like, Mom, lock her so she doesn't uh, come and interrupt my life. Thank you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And but oh my God, is this a new donation? Oh, yeah, it's Andre's donation. Thank you all. I will cuddle Moody and Lady. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you. And I will cuddle not only Moody and Lady, but also someone else. That in another video. Bye for now. More later, leaving you with an intrigue. Bye. How do I turn this off? Yes, 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 yes. I've thought about it in one of my lives months ago, but I deleted it because emotionally it was still very. I don't know how to describe it. I guess I'll just use the word hard. It was still unclear, so yeah. I hope I will leave this life. Sometimes I hope the quality is good enough. When I feel like the quality isn't good enough, I delete the lives. But I had wonderful time with you. Again, thank you all so much. Thank you for watching my videos, for leaving me comments. I always read your comments, always. And the only reason I don't reply right away is because I don't want just to reply just anything. I want to really read it and take it in. Thank you for supporting me with your kind words, with your messages. Those who are able, who can afford it, thank you for supporting me on Patreon and YouTube Club, and thank you all for your donations. I don't know how did I deserve this, and but also thanks to my other platforms and thanks to YouTube, I'm able to do charity at least as much as I can, and I know I cannot save the world, but I can save the lives and change the world of at least someone. And those who have been with me and know the stories of some puppies, and I'm so happy when their new owners are sending me pictures still and how happy they are, and that I'm able to help some of the park dogs. I'll take you to the park with me that we're going. I've already filmed some footage from there. I just didn't like the sound, but I will do maybe a voiceover or just take a different phone with me next time. Thank you all so much. It's also thanks to you, so you're also doing it. It's a part of you. Partly it's you. So thank you. So how do I turn this off? I forgot. I haven't done live in such a long time, and today I'm doing it on my mom's phone because mine didn't have. It was low battery. Is it this? If it's this, bye. Sweet dreams, good day, depending on where you are in the world.